the advert for the teens coaching, webinar and all that, at a time when God was like, I mean, I just started a mentoring program for girls in underserved area and all that, and communities and all that. And I mean, I saw the advert and I decided to, join. I wasn't really sure of what to expect, but I wanted to get more knowledge on how to help the girls that I'm, mentoring, within the underserved communities. We have one mentoring cluster somewhere, in a community in Lagos State. So I ran into the advert and I clicked on it, joined the WhatsApp group and all that. And, I attended the webinar and I got to know about the teen coaching certification program, which I enrolled for. So one of the things I like about it is the fact that we're given a payment option. You know that, I mean, money is a big deal to a lot of people. So that for me was one of the things that endeared me. Number one, there was discount if you were going to pay like within a particular time frame. So that made it easy for me to be able to jump into the water. And also, there was also a payment plan. So the fact that they were not asking me that IFED wasn't asking me to pay the entire fee, made it easy for me to put my leg in. So I was able to join. I was able to, do an initial payment, and then the classes commenced. And seriously, it was mind blowing, because just like I know somebody, you spoke about somebody now who said she's just getting herself, I mean, she's new in the terrain. I would also say, as at then, I was new in the terrain. Yeah, so I was mentoring these girls, teaching them the little bit that I knew about personal development, self discovery, and all that and all that. But joining the certification equipped me to be able to help the girls further, because I mean, it expanded my knowledge base. Now, in terms of assessment, what assessments to run, I now have access to what we call Piper assessment, personality test assessment, parenting, congruent and all that, love attachment, and all that and all that. So not only was I enlightened, I was empowered. And I, aside from the mentoring thing that I'm doing with the girls, in October, God also put it in my heart to start a community for young girls, like a subscription-based community where the parents of these girls, would like girls having their own coaches and mentors. Like they will have their, the way we belong to, adults, we belong to communities, we have coaches, we have mentors. So the way, God put the idea in my mind is to create a community where these girls would also belong to, they will meet other girls, have access to, they will have their own coach, I'll be their coach and bring other, people who are also coaches on board. So we had a program in December called New Year, New Me. And, we had a lot of people who registered for the program. We had about 161 parents who registered for the program. We had a session for the girls, a session for the parents. It was a parent-daughter event, and it was beautiful. We had over 60 girls who, registered. It was my first event when after finishing the certification program. And the beautiful thing is, when that idea came, I went to the community and I said, I'm putting this together and I need coaches, to partner with me. And two coaches, worked with me, because we're teaching the girls as little as they were how to set goals for a new year, how to grow and all that. And I got two coaches, who took care of two groups. We had a breakout sessions for the girls based on their age groups. And Coach Amara, volunteered to come on board with me. Coach Victoria, were also in the same group, joined me. And it was just so beautiful. And today I have a community, for these young girls, and we're growing. And I have two
Wow.
parents who are for one-on-one, for their daughters. And the things I've learned in the certification program are the things I'm going to be using, for this one-on-one coaching. So it's beautiful. So my money did not waste. I did not burn
Wow.
money. It's a good way to
Wow.
spend. So join.
Thank
When the call is made to enroll for the paid version, join. Don't just
Wow.
run away. Make sure you pay and join. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for that. I'm sure that if I leave you to speak, you can speak for the next 1 hour. And that is what you will get from even this session, all right? So for tonight, you're still going to get value for your time, I can assure you. For me, when the first time I came on board this program, and it was a paid, it was not a paid one, it was the same one that you're doing right now. And what that thing did for me is that it ignited the light bulb as to, wow, as much as I was passionate to work with teenagers, but there were still some things that I wasn't seeing. And that's one of the things that you're going to get here. So I appeal to you, get your writing materials, get everything, reduce the distractions. You are in for a transformative time. So without wasting much time, I'm going to invite our speaker. And this person that we're about to listen to is one of the people that, when it comes to mentoring things, coaching things, I want to him. I want to him because that's one of the things that being in this community will do for you, is that you learn to stand on the shoulders of other people because you don't have all the knowledge yourself. You need people that have gone ahead of you. There's some mistakes that you're going to make. And then when you have those people you can reach out to, they just offer you that insight. So he's one person that he is so knowledgeable. And I'm sure for some of us, we might have actually seen him on TV, we might have seen him on YouTube speaking. He's someone that is loaded with information, passionate about young people. He's gone to train for different places, and he's somebody that I respect so much, one of our finest. So please, ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome one of IFET's, our finest coaches when it comes to teenagers, adolescents. No other person but Coach Miracle Ioma. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. It's always a privilege to talk to you. It's always a privilege to have you. So you are welcome. Let's appreciate you, please. Let's appreciate your comments.
Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm really excited. My voice, just pray for me because I don't understand what's going on with my voice right now. I just really do this. So it's a good evening from here. I want to welcome everybody to today's session. Going on already, and I'm super excited about tonight. I'm fired up, and I am geared up to share and to learn from us. Yes, and I really like the energy that we have going on here tonight. And I want us to keep that going. Let's keep that energy coming, as I would like for us to, keep interacting as we continue in today's session. Yeah. So while we are still trying to get to know each other, it's important that we listen up and get the most out of today's session, right? Because I'm sure that's why you are here in the first place. Like you've heard from the testimonial, there's a lot that we are going to be unpacking today, and much more. There's a lot that we would be looking forward to after today's session. So I will just go ahead and share my slides, and then the conversation will begin. But if you're ready for today's session, if you have tightened your seatbelt and you maybe have a cup of water, bottle of water, coffee, or wine beside you to enjoy the ride, can I hear you type or see you type, I am ready, in the chat box? Let me see. I'm ready. I'm ready. I am ready. Let's have that. Let's have that. I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to see as many I'm readies as possible. Yes. I can see. Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of people already. Awesome. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love the energy. Keep that coming. Keep that coming. Yes. So today we want to talk about how to master or mastering the teen coaching game. Mastering the teen coaching game. Yeah. And I'm super excited that a lot of us are already coaching teenagers. And It's also possible that we have team coaching enthusiasts, people who like the idea of team coaching, who might not necessarily have been coaching teenagers before now. It's possible we also have another category of people who are interested. They like how it sounds and they want to get on the game. And it's also possible we have people who have had one form of training or certification or the other who are here today. Whatever category you belong to, I want you to be open-minded to today's teaching, because we want to help you master the teen coaching game. And after today's session, I'm sure we would have been able to achieve that. Now, these are the things that we would have achieved at the end of today's class. At the end of this class, you would have, number one, discovered the opportunities that exist in the teen coaching space. Because quite frankly, the opportunities are enormous. The field is wide and ready, right? The opportunities are enormous, and you will see that after tonight. Two, we want to help you unravel the critical challenging areas teens are struggling to navigate and why they are struggling. Yes, because it's possible that there's somebody here today who is saying, I just really want answers because I am at a crossroad about how to help teenagers in my life. Maybe you're even a parent, maybe you are a guardian, and there's a teenager you don't seem to be able to understand. There's a teenager in your life you can't decipher. What we want to be able to do today is to show you the critical challenging areas for teenagers and why they are also struggling in those areas. Number three, we want to help you master 5 of the 10 irrefutable laws of raising a teenager. Yes, look forward to this one because it's really going to be interesting. And number 4, we will help you become exposed to the best template to accelerate your success rate across the globe. So it doesn't matter where you are tuning in from, whether Africa, Europe, South or North America, or the United Kingdom, or even Australia, the templates we are going to be sharing with you are going to be relevant wherever you find yourself. Yes. So if you would indulge me, I want to please ask that you put off whatever device or distraction that you might have. I know Man City and Arsenal are playing football right now. If you are a football fan, I know you want to watch that game and multitask, right? I know you want to chat on WhatsApp and Instagram and X and what have you, but please spare me the next 1 hour, because this might be the most critical 1 hour of your life in relation to helping teenagers. So please find a quiet spot and let's go on this ride. I also want to plead with you to please change your name on your Zoom to your full name, including any title you would like me to address you with. Please change your name on your Zoom. It's very, very important so that I address you properly, so that I don't come off as disrespectful in case there's a certain way you would like to be addressed. So please put that up on your Zoom. So if you are a pastor, an afar, even an amadoha, now that's a joke, you can actually put it up there. So let's start out with my teenage life and coaching journey. Yes. Because really at the end of the day, nobody became an adult overnight. We all have our teenage story, and in a moment I would like to also hear yours. But let me share mine right briefly. Because I had a teenage life, grew up in the city referred to many as a slum. Guess what that city is? I'm sure your guess is as good as mine, Ajegunle. So I grew up in Ajegunle, Lagos, the quote and unquote notorious city. That was where I grew up in. So I saw all kinds of things. I, saw people do drugs just at the back of my house. So if I was going to maybe use the restroom is tush. If I was going to use the toilet, which was like 1 or 2 miles away from our room, I would see those guys somewhere at our backyard doing drugs. That's the kind of place I grew up in. street fights were something that was normal. We saw street fights every day, saw people bleed. So I even saw there was somebody in my compound, right? Or in my yard. You know, there's a difference between compound and yard. If you live in a place that is gated, it's called a compound. But if you live in where I lived in without gates, where we had one door that was like the door of life, you know, that everybody came out and came in from, then like me, you lived in a yard. So in our yard, there was a time where somebody who was involved in armed robbery, who was an armed robber, was actually shot and was brought home. His intestine actually came out of his stomach because he was shot by maybe other gangs, or I think his fellow gang men, according to his story, who wanted the money they stole to be shared a particular kind of way. It was the days where bank robbery was very, very rampant. That's the kind of place I grew up in. So I saw all of these things. Teenage pregnancy was a norm. 14-year-old girls, 13-year-old girls, 15-year-old girls get pregnant, you know, and some of them dumped babies, some of them having to raise those babies alone. I saw poverty at its highest. I lived in a one-room room. There's a difference between one-room apartment and a one-room room. Yes, because a one-room apartment is where you are living in a one room, but then you have your toilet and your bathroom and kitchen in your room. But I lived in a one-room room where the toilet and the bathroom were actually far away from our room. And we're about 8 people who lived in that one room, including my father and my mother. That just to give you a background of my teenage life and the things that I went through. Yeah, maybe some of those things affected me in a certain way at some point in my life, because the person who is talking to you has not always been perfect, right? And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about, because a lot of the times when adults are talking to teenagers and about teenagers, they wear their perfect heart. Well, breaking news, nobody's perfect, not you. Many of us did things as teenagers, including me, that we are not proud of. But you know what? We don't look like it today, because somehow, you know, God was able to help us through this instrumentality of teen coaching and mentoring to become who we are today. Yes, because I met somebody when I was maybe 15 years old or 14 years old. I can't place it right now, in the person of Mr. Praise Forward. Yeah, he used to come around to Ajegule to speak to us young people every Sunday. What a blessing, what a gift that was. So every Sunday, I had the privilege of listening to him. But let me tell you something around that, because before I had the opportunity of listening to him, my sisters, my older sisters, used to go for that meeting to listen to him. And they would say, "Oh, Miracle, you should come for that meeting." In fact, whenever I did something at home, they would say it's because I don't come for that meeting. That's why I was doing those things I was doing. And all of those things hardened me even the more. The more they said those things, the more I said I wasn't going to come, because I had a mind of my own. But somehow one day, I found myself in that meeting, heard this man speaking, a pretty young man at the time, speaking, you know, to young people. I was stunned. I was like, wow, how can somebody be this knowledgeable? And I sat there listening to him and just thinking about my life. And like, okay, I need to make certain adjustments in my life. And that was my eureka moment. That was the game changer for me. And from then on, I started attending that meeting every Sunday. I didn't miss one day for the next maybe 3 years. Not one Sunday did I miss. I went every day. And I asked this man to become my mentor. And that was how he became my mentor and has been my mentor ever since. Yeah. And of course, that has now led me to mentor many other teenagers. In fact, the platform that I met him on, you know, I turned out to eventually became the leader of that platform at some point, where I also mentored many other teenagers who many of them are doing well in life right now, all grown up. Some of them are in the university, some of them are married, some of them, are abroad and what have you. Yeah. And the journey continues because it never stops. So I would like you to tell me something in the chat box about your teenage years as well. Who were you as a teenager? What happened in your days as a teenager? How well were you handled as a teenager? Just tell me one word, one phrase, one clause, one sentence that described who you were as a teenager. Did you struggle with your identity? Did you have identity crisis? Were you timid? Were you a drug addict? Were you a prostitute? Did you have a crush? Or were you having academic challenges? Were you, whatever it is that you were as a teenager, could you please type it in the chat box? I want to read from people. Awesome. Somebody here says timid and addict. Somebody says I was a church girl. Somebody says I had low self-esteem. Somebody say, wow, my teenage years were rough and very rough. Wow, I can imagine. Somebody said abused. Wow, so sorry about that. Somebody said, well, as a teenager, I struggled with crises. Somebody says I was curious teenager, full of so many unanswered questions. Somebody says a timid church girl. Wow. Somebody says, yes, I suffered identity crisis plus low self-esteem. Somebody says church girl. Someone says, and I was very, very timid. I was so timid. I was shy. I was quiet and had academic challenge. I had a crush on someone twice my age. Wow, interesting. I'm sure you are saying these things to some of us are saying these things for the first time. I'm sure some of our parents didn't know some of these things about us. Because as a child care, I was very depressed teenager. I was the child care who wanted to try weird things. My teenage years, I struggled with inferiority complex and the spirit of fear. I really thank God for growth. I was timid. It's endless, right? Just so much to read from us. And guess what? Put the teenagers in your life within the confines of the things that you have said. Or better put yourself in their shoes. If you struggle with these things, it only means that these struggles have not expired. They are still very much there. Maybe they have even multiplied because of the advent of technology, social media, and what have you. Yeah. So maybe we should cut teenagers some slack, and maybe we can help them if we can stoop to conquer. Yeah. And that's what we want to share today. Okay. So what are the top issues plaguing adolescents? Now, this was June 7, 2021. It listed a lot of them. I'm sure there are many others that are not here. And if you can, please help me in the chat box. Type some other ones that are not here. So here we have eating disorder. We have obesity. We have substance abuse. We have depression. We have mental health disorder. We have substance abuse disorder. We have mental health. We have anxiety disorders. We have school bullying. We have peer pressure. We have violence. We have anorexia. Anorexia is actually a eating disorder. It's a type of eating disorder where a person purges themselves just because they actually feel like they are bigger than they should be. So it most times stems from low self-esteem. The school refusal, there's gender dysphoria, there's conduct disorder, there's attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD, there's bipolar disorder, there is behavioral disorder, there's oppositional defiant disorder, which is very close to conduct disorder. There are mood disorders, menstrual problems, sexual abuse, behavioral problems in adolescence. Yeah. So let me go and see what's happening in the chat box. I know some people have typed in a few things. Addiction is there. Yeah. So there's a lot of things, right? Teenagers are battling with in this age and time. Just so much that they're battling with. And some of them is not even their fault, right? For some of them, it's even as a result of bad parenting. For some, it's as a result of negative peer pressure. For some, it's as a result of social media and what have you. But whatever the cause is, they are dealing with these issues, and we can't deny it. We just have to embrace it and see how we can really begin to help them, because that's what matters. Now, teenagers are the world's most endangered group at the moment, as of 2022. In fact, as of 2025, teenagers are the most endangered group in the world. Around 40% of the population was aged 15 years and younger. 40% of the population, 15 years and younger. 16%, which is about 1.3 billion people of this over 7 billion people on the face of the earth, are teenagers. About 1.3 billion teenagers or billion people of the world's population are teenagers. Without the right guidance, they have the capacity to self-implode and set the world ablaze. So it's a crisis situation, but that's why we have you. And that's why we are excited that you registered for this webinar and that you are here today. Now, what are the 5 core global teen challenges that require teen coaching, that require the expertise of those of us in here today? Number 1 is digital pressure and social media. Digital pressure and social media anxiety. What's the challenge? With the rise of social media platforms, teenagers feel the constant need to present a curated and perfect version of their lives. They might deal with issues such as cyberbullying. In fact, I had a case one time where a teenager was in serious anxiety because someone who claims to practice voodoo threatened her that he was going to deal with her because of a comment he made in a post. And because of that threat, she became so anxious. She became so afraid that her mom had to bring her for therapy. These are the things we are dealing with. There's fear of missing out, FOMO, and the pressures of maintaining an ideal image online. Yeah. So why is this so? Unlike previous generations, today's teens grew up in a world dominated by digital platforms. Every moment can be captured, shared, and scrutinized, leading to added stress. So how well can they really concentrate? When I was leaving secondary school and we were doing valedictory service and telling each other, bye-bye till we'll see again, we really meant it. So people cried in valedictory services because they weren't sure when next they were going to see each other. And it was genuine tears. They weren't sure. But right now, when teenagers are leaving secondary school or high school, as the case may be, they're not crying anymore. They know that, oh, we are going to see each other, whenever we want to see each other. It might not be physically, but we'll connect online. We'll talk on WhatsApp. There are other social media platforms where we would connect. So it is different than it used to be. Yes. So those times, if somebody bought a new belt, nobody knew. If somebody, traveled abroad, nobody cared. No, because nobody knew. If somebody, bought a new shoe or a new handbag, nobody knew. If somebody got married, nobody knew. If somebody got pregnant, nobody knew. If somebody bought a new car, nobody knew. But right now, the case is different. Because when people buy new shoes, buy new cars, buy new dresses, travel abroad, gain admission to higher institutions of learning, everybody knows. They put it out there on social media. So there is now added pressure on teenagers to live a curated life. So there is now a fear of missing out. Everybody now wants to belong. So, in fact, somebody one time went to the airport. In airport, we have those cars that are displayed. Somebody went to the airport, snapped a picture in front of that car and captioned it, "My new car." Yes, those are the kind of pressures teenagers are having. That is why cybercrime is on the increase, because teenagers want to live up to a particular expectation. They want to make it big even without working. You see a boy of 17, a girl of 16, they want to make it. Yeah. So they're either doing hookup or they are doing fraud because they want to make it. They want to measure up. In fact, I remember the story of a boy who was about 17 years old who came to me and said, "Sir, I want to talk to you." And I said, "What is it?" And he said, "Sir, I'm really, I really feel bad." I said, "What are you feeling bad about?" He said, "Sir, I feel like I'm not making progress in life. I feel like, I'm not doing well." I said, "How come you're 17? Why are you thinking you're not doing well? Why do you think you're not making progress?" He said, "My friends, I'm making a lot of money. They are staying over in hotels. They have the latest iPhones. I just feel like, and I said, "Your friends, how old are they?" He said, "Yeah, about my age group, 17, some 16, some 18 and 19 years old. And I just feel like," and I was like, "Wow, you are only 17. You shouldn't be having such pressure." Yeah. The pressure you have in your life right now is how to pass the next JAMB or WAEC exam or O-level exam, as the case may be. But that's the reality of where the world we live in right now. So the world is changing and it has changed. And that's part of what they are dealing with. 2, there's identity and self-expression challenge. What's the challenge? Teens are grappling with understanding who they are, what they believe in, and how they fit into the world. They may also be confused about their sexual orientation, gender identity, and personal beliefs. No thanks to the power of media. That is the reality. You know why this is so? Because the teenage years is a transition years. Teen years starts from about 13. 13 really is most likely the beginning or the middle of puberty. That is when these teenagers begin to develop secondary sexual characteristics. So they begin to, their voices begin to deepen, their breasts begin to come out, right? They begin to have wet dreams. They begin to have hairs in their pubic areas and what have you. All of these things are things they have never experienced before. All of these things are new to them. Their body is changing. That is a transition period. And let me tell you this, any transition period of anybody's life is a period that can actually present serious challenges to anyone. Whether you are transiting from a particular country to another country, if you are not prepared adequately for it, it could become challenging. In fact, recently I wrote an article, and the title of the article was "Good Things Can Have Bad Effects." Yes. So something as good as traveling abroad can have a bad effect on someone who is not adequately prepared for it. Something as good as giving birth to a new baby can actually become a problem to a family. We have seen women, for instance, who have had things like postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, because they were not adequately prepared for it. Something as great as marriage, as getting married, can become a problem if not adequately prepared for it. So if all of something as good as promotion even can become a problem. In fact, I was speaking somewhere to a group of people, a staff of an organization, and a guy in that organization gave me a practical example of himself and said, "I was promoted in this organization and he had a toll on my mental and emotional health that I had to ask for a demotion for me to go back to where I used to be. If it was until I was demoted before I had peace." Yes. So something as good as promotion could actually have bad effects as well. So good things can have bad effects. So if as an adult, you can grapple with these challenges when you are making certain transitions in your life, how much more a teenager who has never been an adult before, who has never experienced some of these things, transiting from childhood into adulthood, from childhood into teenagehood, how much more of these challenges they would face themselves. That is why it is not unusual for teenagers at this age to become gays, lesbians, and what have you, homosexuals generally, because if they are not adequately prepared, they might have those tendencies because they don't know how they're feeling. And that is why we need people like you to help a lot of these teenagers who are going through the challenges. So adolescence is a natural time for self-exploration. However, the vastness of the internet, teens are exposed to a broader range of ideas and identities, which can be both empowering and confusing. What's the third challenge we want to talk about tonight? Mental health stigma. Yes, while awareness about mental health issues has grown, many teenagers still find it hard to express their struggles or seek help due to fears of judgment or misunderstanding. The increase in drug use in Africa has also changed the dynamics. You don't even want to know. I had the privilege of working in the neuropsychiatric hospital, popularly known as Yaba Left. And I had a first-hand experience of seeing teenagers, adolescents, young people with bright futures who were there because of drug challenges. You don't even want to know how that people, 19-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 17-year-olds are struggling with mental health issues, are dealing with drug abuse and what have you. Ladies included, yes. One case stands out in my mind of a particular lady who was about 17 years old when she started using drugs. How did she start? She had a man friend who she was dating at some point, and then one of those days she went to visit him in his hotel room. She saw that he was taking something, and then she asked what it was. He told her, and then told her to try it out. Even though she was initially hesitant, she went ahead to eventually try it. And that was the beginning of her nightmares. Because addiction does not start as addiction. Every prostitute was once a virgin. Every drug addict was once sober. Yes. So it usually starts with a sip. It usually starts with a kiss, like they will call it, even the drug setting. Kisses. It starts with holding of hands, addiction. But these are challenges because they have a generation of not knowing that times have changed and times are changing. And we have to be honest about how the times are changing. We can't apply the same rules that we used in 1999 for teenagers who are growing up in 2025. The season is changing. If you haven't studied, maybe you should go and study about the different generations. From the baby boomers to the generation Y, then to the millennials, then to the Gen Zs, and now we have Gen Alpha, and even we are having from this year, we're going to start having Generation Beta. Yes, because the reason for these different demarcations is not because I tell people. A lot of times when people talk about Gen Zs, they usually like to attach a particular characteristics to that generation. What actually impacts a generation is actually based on the times that generation exists in, the peculiarities of that generation. One of the peculiarities of this generation, for instance, is social media. Is AI, is technology that has made all the difference. So we can't be judgmental anymore. We can't, apply the same set of rules that we were raised with. We have to apply different set of rules. Because when we are open to them, then they can be open to us. When we are less judgmental, then they can be open to us. They can talk to us about things. Yes. Sometimes parents wonder, why do teenagers, why are they so free with you? Why do they tell you things? Because I'm not judgmental. I'm not judgmental. That's why, in fact, your chance of helping a teenager increases with the less judgmental that you are. The more judgmental you are, the less you would help a teenager. That's the truth. And they are dealing with these things. In fact, I heard somebody say the other day, and this was a leader in his own right. He said, this is telling men to cry. That's the point. Why should men cry? Is crying not a human behavior? Is crying a feminine behavior or a human behavior? So why should we say women should cry and men should not cry? And that's why we keep raising weak men who pose to be strong men. Because vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength.
Okay, he'll be back shortly, but I'm sure that even in the short time that we have listened to him, we've gained something. All right, so I think our speaker is having a bit of network issues, but he'll be with us shortly. So who can share? Okay, he's back now.
Yes, I'm back. So sorry. Network threw me out. The devil is a liar. Like we say in our local parlance. Yeah. So let's get back to this. So that's part of the reasons I was talking about part of the reasons we are raising weak boys who are growing growing into the society, who can sustain relationships, who can be vulnerable, who can communicate, who can be emotionally intelligent because of things like that. Because vulnerability is not a weakness, vulnerability is strength. It takes courage to be vulnerable. So it's very important because these are the challenges they are going through. This mental health stigma. And let me tell you, a lot of them in this generation are more open-minded to mental health. They are more aware of their mental health. That's why they will tell you, this thing is affecting my mental health. I can't be here. That's why it's easier for them to walk out of relationships that do not serve them. That's why it's easier for them to leave workplaces. There's a downside to that, we know. But at the same time, it's important to know that they are more aware of their mental health. Number 4, academic and future pressures. The competition for college admissions, scholarships, and job opportunities feels more intense than ever. Many teens feel overwhelmed by the need to excel academically, engage in extracurricular activities, and plan for their future. The job market and global economy are rapidly changing, making it seem like the stakes are higher for this generation. Many parents might not fully realize the amplified pressures or might inadvertently contribute to them with high expectations. Yeah. Because there is a lot of pressure. There are a lot of things calling for the attention of your teen. A lot of things calling for the attention. That is why even right now we are having to deal with teenagers who are having struggles with concentrating, who are having issues with attention span, because a lot of things are calling for their attention. Yeah. That's why if you're a parent here, you want to be careful how soon you give gadgets to your children. Because right now we see 6-month-olds, 1-year-olds already using sophisticated gadgets, introduced to the world of screen too early. And then you wonder why we have increase in depression, in anxiety, in sleep problems, in attention deficit hyperactive disorder. You are wondering why. These are the things that we're talking about. So it's very important that we understand the challenges. Number 5, communication barriers with parents. teens often feel that their parents won't understand or respect their feelings, leading them to withhold information or avoid deep conversations. That's why one of the things that we see is that one of the things teenagers want is a sense of autonomy. Now, mark what I said, a sense of autonomy. Yeah, there's a way to bypass their conscious resistance and make them feel like they're in charge even when they're not. Yes, these are part of the things we're going to be learning. So teens often have this barrier, and most times it is because of the disparity in the different generations that parent and child live in. Because in your time, for instance, you will tell, if your parents tell you sit down there, you have no choice but to sit down. But right now, you ask a teenager to sit down, you ask you why. You have to answer plenty of questions, and you're wondering, why do I have to answer all of these questions? That is part of what you've signed up for. Yes. So teens are struggling for independence and autonomy. They are developing their own views and values, sometimes in contrast to their parents. They might fear judgment, disappointment, or conflict, so they choose silence or superficial interactions. So when they see that you shut them down 1, 2, 3 times, they will recoil into their shares, because you cannot handle their truth. You cannot handle their honest opinion. I've met many teenagers who will tell me, I don't talk to my mom about these things because she can't handle it. I don't talk to my dad about these things because he can't handle it. Yeah, so you can't handle their opinions. You can't handle their views. So they would rather keep quiet. They would rather be quiet or interact sparingly. That's why parents will tell you, right now, I'm in the same house with my teens. They are inside their room all day. I can't even spend 30 minutes with them. I can't spend 1 hour with them. There's a barrier in communication. And that is coming from a lack of understanding these teenagers. So let's see if we can answer some of these questions that we might have in the next slides. 5 of the 10 irrefutable laws of handling teenagers. What are those 5 irrefutable laws of handling teenagers? Number 1, the law of identification. You can't engage teen thinking like an adult. You have to wear a teen's thing. You have to put yourself in their shoes. Example. Oh, I had identity crisis. I was timid. I was shy.
Okay, network seems to be very funny tonight. All right, but I want somebody to just share in the comments something that you have gained from listening so far while we wait for our host to return. Okay, I see that we have quite, we've had quite a number of interactions on the group. All right, so please let us just continue to, let's just focus on the main discussion for tonight. Okay, thank you, Stanley said, thank you so much. I've learned that vulnerability is not weakness but strength. I've learned about the 5 core global challenges or pressure for teenagers. And one of the things that you can begin doing with what you're listening to is to think, how can you apply it to your practice or to what you do with teenagers? All right, so it's not just enough to gain knowledge, but to ask yourself, how can you apply this? I think our facilitator is back. All right, he's back. So
yes. So sorry, right? I really don't know what happened to my network today, but please just forgive me and manage with me, right? Yeah. So I was talking about how that I've asked us, earlier to share certain challenges we had or our life as teenagers, and we saw some of those things. Some of us battle with addiction. Some of us, we had crushes. Some of us, we even lost our virginity as teenagers. Some of us, we did drugs, and a lot more. We had self-esteem issues. Why then do we then treat teenagers like we were perfect during our time? Why then? Why then do we expect them to be perfect when we ourselves were not, are not, and are never going to be perfect? Why then do we treat them? Why then do we expect such things from them? Because if the moment you identify with them, it is easier to connect with them and it is easier to help them. What is your perception of your teenager? Do you perceive him as a drug addict? Are you perceiving him as stubborn? Are you perceiving him as, a no good to the society? What's your perception? Or are you perceiving him or her as a royalty, as a king, as a queen, as a solution provider, as a savior, as, a royalty? What's your perception of your teen? Because perception would determine reception. How you perceive your teenager will determine how you receive them, and how you receive them will determine how you relate with them. So what's your perception of your teenager? I think it was Stephen Covey that said, if you are not influenced by my uniqueness, I'm not going to be influenced by your advice. Let me say that again. If you are not influenced by my uniqueness, I'm not going to be influenced by your advice. So if you are not influenced by the uniqueness of your teenagers or the teens around you, they are not going to be influenced by your advice. A lot of the times we want to advise without first of all understanding them. And that's where the problem is. So let me ask you, what do you see? Tell me, type for me in the chat box what you see. What do you see? What do you see? I would like to get a few feedback. What do you see? Tell me what you see in the chat box. Okay, somebody said some teenagers smoking. Someone said, I see greater folks than me, so I don't allow them straight away. This guide them through. Someone said, calling for attention from a teen, tattoo, shyness, teenagers smoking. I see great minds. I see potential in them. Teenagers without proper guidance, tattoos. I screenshot I see someone who needs to be shown love, great destinies being altered, homosexuals, smoking, love, affection among young minds, teenagers who need help, tattoos, a boy having underlying problems, trying to cover up bad actions, premarital sex, drugs, and tattoos. I saw a picture of a teenager smoking, drug addict, lesbian, homosexual. Awesome. Now, these are your perceptions of these teenagers. And I really like how some of us responded. Yeah. But what if you begin to see them as teens that are in search of an identity? Yeah. Because perception determines reception. What if you begin to see them as people who are good, who have a great future, and who are en route that future, who are in the process of becoming the best of their kind to get where they need to get to? What if you perceive them as people who have great potentials, but who are just currently distracted? It changes the dynamics. Because if I see them as people who have great potentials, who are currently distracted, against someone who see them as, a lost cause, it means that there's still hope. It means that I would not be judgmental. It means that I will be empathetic towards them. Why that other person would not be, that other person would give up on them and just say there's nothing I can do about the situation. So perception matters a lot when you are dealing with teenagers. It matters a lot. Number two, the law of flexible expectations. You can't impose yourself on a teenager without understanding his developmental traits. And it's really a backdrop, from the first point that we gave earlier. To say that you must understand teenagers, you must understand them. You must seek first to understand them before you seek for them to understand you. Seek first to understand before being understood. Yes. It is important to understand them before you try to correct them, before you try to teach them, before you try to influence them. You have more chance at influencing a teenager to change when you first understand them than if you don't understand them. And what is understanding comes from two words: under and standing. Understand, understand. So it means to stand under them. It means to stoop to conquer. It means to learn from them. Because to properly influence teenagers to change, you must be their student before you become their teacher. You must be their student before you become their teacher. You must understand them. You must understand where they are coming from. What are their developmental traits? What are their personalities? What are their love attachments, styles, and what have you? Because they have expectations. What are those expectations? Independence. Teenagers want to be independent. You know why? They have been under your care as a parent, as a guardian for a long time. They want, some freedom, some independence to make independent decisions. Opinionism. So they want to also make their points known and tell you what they think. That's why one of the things you might even hear from them a lot is, you don't understand. Mommy, you don't understand. Daddy, you don't understand. Auntie, you don't understand. Because they want to be heard. And that's one of the greatest needs of a human being. They need to be heard. They want their opinions heard. Exploration and mistakes. That's one of the highlights of teenagers. In fact, I'm sure that at least 50% of everybody in this room at one point or the other has experimented something. Either as a teenager, as an adolescent, or what have you. Exploration. They want to experiment. Oh, they said we should not kiss, so let me go and see what is in that kissing. Oh, they said we should not have sex. Why shouldn't we have sex? They said we should not do drugs. Why shouldn't we do drugs? So let me go and see. That's why it is better for you to explain to them the reason you don't want them to do certain things than for you to just shut them up, give them do's and don'ts. Because when you do that, they might not argue further, but behind you, they will go and experiment what you have said. To say, let me truly know if what this person is saying is true. Because the sexuality education we had when we were growing up, especially for ladies, was if a boy touches you, you will get pregnant. And a lot of those ladies, boys touch them, they did not get pregnant. They were now wondering, was that my mom was lying or what? So they will experiment, they will explore. So you need to stop doing do's and don'ts. Don't do this. Don't do that. So you need to move from that to explaining this is why you shouldn't do it. And it has to be an intelligent explanation because they are very intelligent too. Example, I don't want you to have premarital sex or have sex now as a teenager because people who have sex don't make it in life. A teenager will say, but mommy or daddy, but this person, this popular star, he has 2 children from 2 different women. This one has 5 children from 3 different women. Boy, and they have made it. So what you are saying is not correct. So it has to go beyond. It has to be something that you have thought about. That's why if you don't have an explanation, tell them, I don't have an explanation right now, but give me 2 weeks, give me 1 week, give me 1 day, and then we can talk about this. Rather than telling them that it doesn't matter, I am your mother, I am your father, whatever I tell you is final. No, sir, no, ma'am. And they want collective control. They want collective control. To say that I also want to have a say in my life. That's what it is. So as much as you are telling me what to do, seek my opinion on certain things. Let me have a say, especially on those things that affect me. Very important. And then secrecy and codes. Secrecy and codes. Yes, teenagers have a lot of codes. In fact, my mentor shared this, that he went somewhere, and then in that particular meeting that he was having with some parents, he said two of their teenagers were having conversation in codes. He knew because he knows about team coaching and what have you, and that's why he was able to decipher that those guys were talking in codes. So the guy told the lady, "Give and it shall be given unto you." And the lady said, "Press down, shaking together, and running over." And their parents were like, "Ah, wow, our parents, our children, they know scripture. Ah, they know the Bible. Look at their quoting Bible. Give and it shall be given unto you." But my mentor now went behind and asked them, I said, "If you should come, what are you guys talking about really?" And they had to open up and told him that what they were talking about was actually blowjob. Give is blowjob, and it shall be given unto you is that I will give you back the blowjob. Press down, shake it together is we will now go beyond the blowjob and even, do explore many other things. But there the parents were thinking that their children were religious. You don't have to know all the codes, but if you are a student and if you are somebody who is open, they will teach. They will be the ones to even telling you. Yeah. Number 3 there is the law of creativity. You can't get their attention for long if you are not creative enough, because they get bored with anything that doesn't involve fun. So you want to be creative in how you're teaching them, in how you are relating with them. Don't be stereotypical. Don't be a cake in the way you approach them. Be open-minded, be free, be young. Let them see themselves in you. Let them be able to be relatable. So put some creativity right there. And then number 4, the law of visualization. A teen learns faster from what he or she sees than what you say. So leave the talk. Create a room for expression or engagement, and he will live the life. So they see, don't say, "Oh, do what I do, do what I say, but don't do what I do," because eventually they will see you as an hypocrite. In fact, one of the reasons we have a lot of hypocrisy in the society today is because adults grew up in homes as children and teenagers where parents lived double standards or had double standards and live double standard lives. That's the reason. So they are replicating those things because that's what they saw. So please make sure you are living the life. Example, parents will say, "I want my teenagers and my children to read." They will say, "Go and read your books, go and read your books, go and read your books." Question I always ask them, do you read? As a parent, do you read? If your child has never seen you read before, it will be difficult to imbibe the reading culture in them. They've never seen you. It is way, way easier to imbibe the reading culture into a teenager or a child when they see you modeling it. When they see daddy opens a book to read, they see mommy reading. It is easier to tell them, "Go and read," because they see you doing it. Yes, I know this is speaking to somebody here today. This one is not word of knowledge, it's word from knowledge. So make the adjustment. And number 5, the law of trust. A teen will pretend and lie if he doesn't trust you enough to handle his mistakes. So earn his trust and build intimacy lest they start pretending. You know why a lot of teenagers lie? What lie is for a lot of children and teenagers is what they are communicating, or what they are communicating by lying is your inability to handle their truth. And of course, there might be other reasons, but for a lot of them, it is they will not tell you the truth because you can't handle it. Yes. So I tell people,
Okay.
When relating with teenagers, so let me say that again. To really trust your teenagers so because they have seen adults reward lies and punish truth. Oh God.
Okay, we are about wrapping up with our webinar. I want us to share who has received something, who has gotten a light bulb moment. Let me hear from you in the comments. For me, it's as much as I've taken this program before, it's always fresh when I listen again, because knowledge is progressive. You must continue to educate yourself, enlighten yourself. Okay, so our coach is back. And we're about wrapping up. So thank you all for staying with us so far.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, coach.
All right. Yeah. So please stay with me, right? Stay with me. So it is important to show trust if you want to reap trustworthiness with teenagers. Show trust. So they have seen you punish truth and reward lies. So the day they told you the truth, you punish them. The day they lied, you left them. So now say, that's how this thing works. So let me start lying. That's not to say you won't punish bad behavior when you need to, but sometimes you need to reward truthfulness and honesty. Yes. So let me ask this question at this point, this juncture. How many of you want to become a teens coach? You want to become a teens coach? Type in the chat box, yes, I want to. Just something to let me know you want to be a teens coach. You want to be a teens coach? Tell me yes, 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 yes. I want to be a teens coach. Let me see how many of us are ready. Let me see how many of us are ready. Let me see how many of us are ready. You want to be a teens coach? Tell me. Let me in the chat box. Yes, I want to. Yes, I want to. Yes, awesome. I love this. I love the energy. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Wow. Awesome. 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 Beautiful. Yes. I'm so excited about this. So excited. So let's go a bit further as we begin to round off. Teen coaching is a global need for the following signs. We've talked about that already. Rates of anxiety steadily increasing over the years. So a dedicated teen coach can provide support, coping strategies, and tools to manage these challenges, acting as a bridge between formal therapy and self-help. So you can serve as a mentoring coach, helping teenagers navigate. Because let me tell you for free, a lot of teenagers are battling and grappling with these mental health issues, anxiety, depression, sleep problems, eating disorders, and what have you.
Okay, thank you all. Our coach will soon be back to wrap up, but I see a lot of you asking some questions already. And before he comes back, we can also drop, if you have maybe other questions that you want to ask, please ask. Well, I saw one of the questions where someone asked, will the slides be shared? No, our slides will not be shared. And would you have access to the session? Yes, you will have access to the session. Please, you can check us out on YouTube. We're IFED Academy on YouTube. You can also check us out on Instagram. We are IFED Academy. So you can reach out to us for further questions. And before we go, he asked a question, who wants to be a teens coach? And we all said yes. and we have listened to everything that we have said today. But the question that I have for you is, do you have what it takes to be a teens coach? Do you have what it takes? Do you understand what to do when you see a problem and how to bring effective solution to that particular problem? Because that's one of the things that you would learn when you take it a step further in being a teens coach, in making sure that you equip and empower yourself to get the right knowledge. Okay, so Coach, I will let you wrap up.
Thank you very much for holding forth for me. Yeah, so they are dealing with mental challenges. I can stand as a bridge rather, to help them deal with these things. And that reason why we need you to become a teens coach is that there's an acceleration of technological and societal changes. And you need to begin to help teenagers navigate all of these things. Now, let me give you an example I like to give. So when I was growing up, for instance, it wasn't easy for me to watch pornography. Even though pornography was a vice, it wasn't easy. If you wanted to watch pornography when I was growing up, you needed complex thinking and planning. Number one, you needed to have a TV. Not everybody had the privilege of having TV. Number two, you needed a DVD. So it's possible you had TV, but you didn't have DVD. So you needed TV, you had DVD, you needed DVD. Number three, you needed money to buy the DVD cassette, the pornographic DVD cassette. Number four, when you are going to buy the DVD cassette, the person selling it to you might not sell it because the person might say, how old are you be? Why are you coming to buy this thing? Come on, go home, Jare. He might not sell it. Number five, when you succeed in buying the DVD cassette, you needed power to be available before you could watch it. Number six, you also needed to pray that while you are watching it, NEPA, like we call it in Nigeria, or your power holding company does not interrupt power. Number seven, if that cassette actually is stuck rather in your DVD, what that means is that your parents are going to come back, and when they come back, the cassette, and when power is restored, the DVD cassette is going to start playing from the last scene. So that means that you required a lot of complex thinking. So when you think about all of this, you say, I beg, is it because of all this ordinary pornography? So maybe the only time I stumbled on pornography was maybe when a group of people were watching in a room, and then I looked through the window, I saw it. So it wasn't a temptation because it wasn't in my radar at that time. But right now, if a teenager wants to watch pornography, all he or she needs is a smartphone. And at the click of a finger, they have access to over 1,000 pornographic content. So you see why you have to cut them some slack, and why we need you to help them deal with some of these issues that they are facing. Another one is globalization and cultural integration. The world is more interconnected than ever. Teens interact with peers from diverse backgrounds, online and offline. While this provides rich learning experiences and what have you, it also presents challenges related to identity, cultural understanding, and acceptance. Coaches can aid teens in developing cultural awareness, embracing diversity, and establishing their own identities amidst global influences. Because right now, immigration and emigration is an in thing. People are jabbering, like we'll call it right now, local balance. People are traveling to different parts of the world. And many times they are having issues with settling down. They are having issues with being fully integrated into those communities and into those cultures. So as a teens coach, you can help teenagers deal with this. There's also increased academic and career pressures. So as the world economy and job market evolves, teenagers are faced with heightened pressures to excel academically and make early career choices. So as coaches, we can provide guidance, stress management techniques, and help teens discover their passions and strengths in a high pressure environment. There's also the need for resilience and adaptability. I'm trying to rush because of time. So given the uncertainties of the future, be it climate change, political shifts, or technological disruptions, teens need to be resilient and adaptable. Because, for instance, one of the challenges of the Gen Z, the Generation Alpha, and possibly the Generation Beta is the issue of resilience. They give up easily. They can't really go through hard things. Those are the challenges that has come with the times that we live in. But as a team coach, you can help them navigate this. In fact, I remember sometime last year, a school contracted me to come and talk to their teenagers for a few weeks. Why? Because their students, rather, for a few weeks, because they wanted them to develop resilience. They said that a lot of their students lacked resilience, and as a teens coach, I was able to, help those children, those students, over a few weeks develop resilience. That's part of what you can begin to do. What is coaching? ICF defines coaching as partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. The process of coaching often unlocks previously untapped sources of imagination, productivity, and leadership. Yes. So coaching is not telling people what to do, as a lot of us think or thought before now. Coaching is actually inspiring and helping your client to maximize their potential, raising their level of awareness to the point where they gain clarity and they can make their own decisions. That's what coaching is. Welcome to professional coaching, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, because a lot of us, what we have known before was do's and don'ts. What we knew before was native intelligence. But coaching is different. It's a skill. Sometimes when I tell parents what I charge, they're like, it's not just to talk. I said, no, it's not just to talk. It's not just to talk. Talk is cheap. My own is not cheap. Because my own is not just talk. Mine is there is a skill around my own talking that would elicit certain results that you want in your teenager. So it's different. So what is the coaching process? The coaching process, number one, create rapport, develop a relationship. Yes. Neurolinguistic programming has a proposition that says, in the presence of rapport, anything is possible. Anything is possible. Let me give you this for free. A coach who knows how to create rapport, but who doesn't have a lot of coaching tools at their disposal, will do better and get more results than another coach who has a lot of coaching tools but doesn't know how to create rapport. Yes. Research proven. Create rapport. Number two, administer assessment, preferably a data-driven assessment in understanding the root cause. And the teach coaching certification course, right, that will be coming up in a few weeks that we're going to talk to you about. You are going to learn, you are going to get a lot of assessment and learn how to administer them. From love codes to attachment styles to personality assessments to what we call PIPAL assessments. Inside the PIPAL assessment, we have a lot of assessments. We have parenting scorecard, a lot of them. Because this reduces the time you spend talking in coaching and counseling. Because with this assessment, you just know what the problem is. From this assessment, okay, this is why this teenager is behaving this way. You just see it. And then in coaching, sometimes when I'm talking to parents, they're like, how did you know? Assessment. I'm like, In fact, recently I was having a session with somebody this week, a client I've been speaking to for a while, and she said, this thing work like magical. I said, now, so, yeah. So that helps you to understand root cause, because there's what is called root cause analysis. Because many times, I think it is, I forgot the name of the person who said, many people are looking for things, they are looking for things on the branches that can only be found at the roots. Many people are looking for things on the branches that can only be found on the roots. I think it was Remy or so. Many people are looking for things on the branches that can only be found on the roots. That's why I tell coaches and people and even parents alike, sometimes the problem is not always the problem. What I mean by that is, the problem is not always the presenting problem. There's what is called the presenting problem. The presenting problem can be masturbation. The presenting problem can be pornography. The presenting problem can be drugs. The presenting problem can be academic decline. That might not be the problem. Yes. That can be a stem of the problem. But you won't know until you do root cause analysis. And you won't know until you come for Think Coaching certification course. Number 3, review reports and establish mutually agreed upon goals and objectives. After you have gathered your reports, then you set goals for your coaching, and then you get going. And then finally, establish and develop an implementation plan. To say, okay, very easy. Telling you how easy for me right now, because I've done this over time. There's a team, for instance, I'm coaching for the next 6 months. I'm coaching this young man for the next 6 months, and I drew a coaching plan, sent it to the mom. 6-month program for this boy. At the end, these are the results we are expecting. She was impressed. These are the things we are talking about. So in this course, the Teens Coaching Certification course, these are some of the things you will be learning. The inner workings of an adolescent brain. How does an adolescent brain work? You will learn that an adolescent brain is a bit different from an adult brain. Even though, yes, the whole brain is the same, but the developmental processes are different. You will learn that. You will learn about tools for diagnosing adolescent behavior and strategies to maximize their potential. You will learn understanding adolescent love maps to strengthen bonds with parents. You will learn techniques for healing the inner child in adolescents. You will learn ethics of adolescent coaching. You will learn parental involvement, psychosocial awareness. That's Piper tools. I'm sure you've been hearing that, all through this session. You will learn effective coaching frameworks and interviewing styles. You will learn conducting teens in the introductory assessments. You will learn helping parents and teen and adolescents master their emotions. You will learn managing adolescents' trauma, triggers, and stressors. You will learn crisis counseling techniques. You will learn tools and therapy for handling various crisis situations, and so much more. These are the things that we assure you at the Think Coaching Certification course. Now, this is the result model. Number 1, there's comprehensive assessment to accurately diagnose the real issues, like I said earlier. Review session to clarify any challenge with their professional report. And then there is parenting impact and psychosocial assessment. This is Piper results coaching sessions. Let me tell you, this is data-driven. This has over 90% accuracy in its diagnosis. And we have results. Somebody shared their testimony already here today. So it's not like, oh, we are just telling these things. These are things that I've used. These are things, our coaches have used. Even Coach Joy, for instance, have used these techniques, and they're working. They're working because data has constantly shown that the root cause of many adolescents are ignorance of adolescent brain, ignorance of behavioral management, ignorance of personalities and attachment styles, and ignorance of parenting patterns, often powered by beliefs. What is our goal at the Institute? Our goal is to produce the most competent family life professionals humanity deserves, to assist them become highly profitable across the globe. I'm a product of this institute. Oh, you like the way I talk, right? I'm sure you like it. I'm sure you like all the things I'm sharing. I learned most of them at the institute. And we are giving you the opportunity to do that today. 60% are the requirements for becoming a teens coach. 60% compulsory in class attendance. So you must attend our classes, 60% compulsory. You must submit compulsory home plays. Home plays are things that you might know as assignments. And, so we call it home play so as to trick your brain to believe that it is play instead of work. That's what you can also use for your teenagers and children as well. Then you graduate as an associate coach. You fulfill your conditions for certifications, which are very easy. You appear for defense, and then you become a certified adolescents and teens coach. The teen coach is the pipeline between parents and the teen's ability to effectively navigate the teen years successfully. Where are teen coaches needed? Needed in schools. I can tell you a lot of schools right now don't have counselors. They don't have anybody who can really help their students. That's a lot of market. That's a market for you right there. Government agencies. There is a ministry for women and youth development, for instance. Religious organizations. There is a lot of market in religious organizations because almost every religious organization has a children's department. You can flourish right there. Families need people to help them with their teenagers. Parents, a lot of parents are clueless. They have come to a crossroad. They don't know what else to do. That's where you are needed. So wherever teens are found is where the teens coach is needed. So sign up today and become a highly paid teen coach and strategist from February, please. February, not March. This is a mistake. February. This February. So what are our offers? What are we offering for you tonight? What is the normal price to attend this course? The normal price to attend this course is 300,000 naira, $195. A one-time payment is 25K. Payment in installment is 280K rather. Sorry, it's 280K. If only you want to pay in installments, right? Because you are attending this course today. If you are attending this course today, you are attending this webinar today, the managing the teens or mastering rather the teen coaching game price is 255K. So if you are here, instead of 300K, you are getting it for 255K. That's about $166. So you are saving about 45,000 naira, but you have to make a deposit of 100,000 naira. That's about $65 within the next 72 hours. So by Thursday, the 6th of February, 2025, prices will revert back to 300,000. That's $195. So make a $100,000 deposit and lock in the discounted offer of 255,000 naira. So you are getting a discount because you are attending this program. And let me tell you, this is nothing compared, I can tell you that for free, to what you'll be getting out of this program. Nothing compared. If you make a deposit, you can spread your payments across the month or across the program. You will share with the admin how you want to do the payments, and and then do the payment across those installments. Everyone who has attended this course has had testimonials. We could have gotten up to 20 people here today to share testimonials with you if we had the time. Like I said, I'm a product of this institute. Joy is a product of this institute. The person who shared earlier is a product of this institute. You can also become a teens coach. And let me tell you the financial aspect of it. Because some of you will say, this money is too much. When people say money is too much, I always like to ask them, compared to what? Compared to what? Compared to not having the knowledge, compared to not helping a lot of teenagers out there who are struggling, compared to helping that teenager who is dealing with drugs, compared to helping that teenager who is dealing with identity crisis, compared to what exactly? Because the truth is that you will even make this money times 1,000. For instance, 300K in my coaching journey right now is nothing. That's the truth. That's the truth. Let's not blow our trumpets, but when you have this expertise, you will become a sought after. People would call you from right, left, and center because of this expertise. So tell me, who is joining us in this class this February? If you're joining us in class this February, I want you to type yes, yes, I'm joining, I'm joining, I'm joining, I'm joining, I'm joining. Tell me yes, 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 I'm joining. I want to see that. If you're joining us, tell me I'm joining. I'm joining, I'm joining, I'm joining, I'm joining. Somebody's asking what's the duration of the class. The duration of the class, I think it's about
12 weeks.
8 weeks, 12 weeks. Okay.
Yes, 12 weeks.
12 weeks is intense. You join in class once every week, and then you have home place to do during the week. Virtually, so you can join from anywhere you are in the world. Right? So it's a 12 weeks event, 12 weeks program, and you want to be, oh wow, I see yes already. Yes, yes. Oh, awesome. Yes. Somebody says, please, will that be included in the training strategies on how to get job offers? Yes. The last course of the training is the business of team coaching. I'm the one who usually takes that class. Yes. So you will learn how to make money from this. Yes, I'm joining. Wow, I love this. What days of the week will lectures hold? That shouldn't matter, really. Any day you should hold in the evening, right? Nigerian time or West African time.
Every Thursday by 7 p.m.
Okay. It's actually virtual. It's actually virtual. Somebody says, will I have access to team coaching training if I join the Family Life coaching training? That's what we're saying. If you join the training, you are getting the full course on how to become a team coach. Somebody said, please, I have a question. Please ask your question. Raise up your hand if you have a question, and then the admin would unmute you, and then you can go ahead and ask your question, or you can type your question in the chat box. Is there a payment plan? Yes, absolutely. Admin, please do well to drop your number or your email address so that people can reach you immediately for further inquiries. There's a payment plan. So like I said, you can spread your payment across board. You just need to make a deposit of $100K or $65 between now and the next 3 days. So by Thursday morning, that offer, becomes is reverted, and then we get back to the normal fee of $300K. Yeah. So yes, awesome. There is no but. What is stopping you from being a part of this? That should be the question. One of the questions you always ask yourself is not, how will I get the money? No, it's not, I don't have the money, but how will I get the money? How can I afford this? How can I pay for this? What can I do? These are the questions you need to start asking yourself. So please, click on the links in the chat box, reach out to the numbers in the chat box as well. And I want to see you in class this February. So thank you very much for listening. I believe with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that you can actually take your team's game to the next level. I hope you've gotten value. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Coach Miracle, for that. I'm sure we've gotten value. Let me quickly just respond to some people. So I'm saying, I'm interested. I think the fee is exorbitant. Honestly, I think in 2023, I was where you are because I took this particular program. And by the time I heard the fee, I was like, But then one of the things that I know is that, if you want to get knowledge, there should be no price for knowledge. So no, when coach said, okay, you think it's expensive, to what exactly? Because before then, I had been a teams coach for 8 years. All right. I thought I was doing team coaching, but it was just mentoring, it was just more of passion, it was just advice here and there. But when I came into the system, and I had taken all that training, so 5K here, 10K here, when I came into the system, it was like a mind shift. And at that point, I said, you know what, I'm going to close anything, attending any training, and just fully focus on what I had learned. And I kid you not, before then, I had never actually charged anybody for money. You know, I had not charged them to coach them because I thought, who's going to pay for this? And then, you know, I was coming from a religious background. So people just felt, oh, you reach out to your pastor and you get counseling and all that. But after that program, I kid you not, because there's something that is going to happen when you are in a room of possibilities and you're not just hearing it, you're seeing results, you're seeing people working. After that program, I was stand up and, you know, the first offer that I put out, I was surprised people paid. You know, there was just something about being able to receive money for the skill that you had. There was also another invitation that I got just for the reason of, this person is from IFED, this person is with, you know, Praise Forward. There was, you know, there was an invitation I got to facilitate in a particular place. And this money that we're calling, that was the highest honorarium I've ever received. I kid you not. Almost the price, you know, almost the cost of the certification. So these things are possible. Currently, I'm working with, you know, I'm currently working with, with a family for 3 months. And by the time I shared, you know, the plan with them, I told them, like, I said, see, I'm at a point where I'm not even struggling to get parents. Not before I used to beg parents, come, let's coach your teens. But now, because you know the value that you're giving, when I sit down to do assessment and I'm telling parents, this is how your child was when they were young. This is how your child was. And I'm asking them questions based on the result of the assessment. They're like, wow, this is true. How did you know? And I have a background in psychology. And in doing my internship last year, because I had left it for a while, last year I went for my internship. On the ward, there was a case that came up and somebody just said, call the psychologist. In my mind, I'm like, hey, they've not taught us this one yet though. But, you know, it was something that we had learned during the assessment, you know, how to diffuse a particular thing. Because I knew that, this was a particular thing that this person was exhibiting. And then using one of those strategies was what calmed that person. The person was exhibiting some anxiety things. And using that strategy, you know, calms that person down. People were like, please, how do you know, when did they teach this one? Because I said, calm down. Because all the knowledge we have is not only from school that we are getting it. So there is no limit. There's no, see, if you want to, you can check out. Go and check other coaching certification. Go and check other programs. Now, I'm saying that I want to believe that some of you have gone for other trainings and you'll still be struggling. You've gone for some other trainings and you might not be able to come up with an intervention plan. You're not able to, you know, get to the root of the problem. That's one of the things that would happen to you. It's going to be a light bulb moment. Okay, so without talking so much, let me answer some other questions. Maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions from the training and we call it a 9 because it has been, we've spent a lot of time here. So thank you all for coming on board. I remain your host, Joy Deborah Essien. Coach Miracle was the speaker for tonight. And if you need more assurance, because one of the things I did when I was confused, I reached out to somebody else that I had seen that had taken a program from IFED. I said, see, I don't want to talk to the admin. I don't want to talk to anybody in the institute. This one is real. Tell me the truth about this. And when we spoke, I saw certain things. So if you want more clarification, if you say, if I reach the admin, they will be biased, you can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. My Facebook name is Joy Deborah Essien, because I've been where you are and I would answer your questions. Reach me out on Instagram, the_teenage_white_hat. And let's talk, because I'm also, you know, I've also been where you are listening. I want you, is this even value for money? So whatever questions you have, you can ask me. If you have questions for the Institute, their number is there. The number is there. The email is also there. You can use the link to make payment. And I will just, I want to appeal to you. I saw some other people were dropping their phone numbers. Just be careful who you are reaching out to. Be careful who you are reaching out to. Don't go and reach out to somebody that will scam you or whatever. You're your own. No. Anybody know from IFED? We can't account that. All right. We have payments plan. There's payment plan. And I didn't have the money when I paid for this. But because of the payment plan, I spread that payment there. and I paid up. Okay, so any question? I saw one question. I don't know if that person is still here, but if you are there, we're going to take one or two questions from the training. All right, so that we can call it a day and we would go to bed because it's been a long day for some of us. I'm trying to get, because there's been a lot of chat, I'm trying to get any other question. Okay, somebody said, okay, I think we've attended to that question. Will there be strategies? Yes, you're going to get strategies on what to do. So this particular question said, my question is, when a teenager seems difficult, yet he likes to be heard every time without understanding what he needs to learn. So this person said that, okay, he doesn't allow anyone to talk to him, but wants to be justifying what he has done. How do you deal with that particular teenager? Coach Miracle, did you have a question?
Okay, could you please come again with the question? I'm not sure.
So his question was more, how do you deal with a teenager who he doesn't like to listen? So for example, you've caught him doing something, but he won't listen to you. He'll be justifying what he's doing.
Yeah, and the person is a teenager or a child?
Then a teenager.
Okay, so part of what we are saying, root cause analysis, right? Because we can't just begin to judge based on what you've said right now. So we want to have an interaction with the teenager. We want to have an interaction with the parent to ask certain questions as well. Maybe it's a personality issue. It could be a personality issue. For instance, teenagers come in 4 packages. Part of what you'll be learning at the teen coaching certification course. They are, for instance, intimidating teenagers. They are teenagers who are intimidating, who their natural disposition is to disagree with anything that you say. Their natural disposition, they are go-getters. They are non-conformist. These are teenagers that you might call stubborn, but they are natural leaders as well. But it might just be a personality clash. Yeah, it might also be something that the teenager is struggling with. Maybe there is an animosity that they have in their heart, even against the parent. We never can tell. So it is an interaction, diagnosis, and all of that we then get to understand why is it that the teenager doesn't listen. And because what you even call the teenager not listening might not even be the way you are describing it. If we now find out at the end of the day, we might now see that you might even be the problem. So all of these things cannot just be answered hearsay. It is when we then sit down with the teenager and with you, maybe we can then get detailed responses, and then we can make recommendations based on that.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. I think the other questions are more about the certification and payment plan. For payment plan, just reach out to the admin. We are very, very flexible when it comes to payment plan. That's one thing I can, I give it to the institution. I'm not going to hold your neck and say, come up with your payment plan. Let us see what you have to offer. And they will tell you, okay, this is the best that we can do for you. So reach out, payment plan. The payment covers the certificate, every single thing. You're going to get a module. You'll get a module. You're going to get, there are extra things that you will even get the benefit of even being able to reach out to. I've not paid Coach Miracle one kobo for picking his brain. And I know if I had to reach out to him for picking his brain outside of being in this institute, I cannot even afford him. I can't afford him at all. So that's one of the benefits you get from being with a network of people that have knowledge. All right. If you have a question, please type, because we're wrapping up and we're going. So
raising up their hand. Is it possible to allow the person?
Okay. I'm just looking at time. Who is raising up hands? Blessing, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, Coach Joy, and good evening, Coach Miracle. Thank you for this wonderful section tonight. So my question, I'll quickly move straight to my question. I have this teenager because I work in a school. I have this teenager. While I joined the school, he was a very brilliant student, always following up, always free to talk. But after some while, like a year, he became distant, and I've been trying to reach out to him. I've spoken to him. I have advised him. I've called him one-on-one. I've spoken to him publicly. But it seems like the more I talk, the more he keeps distancing himself. And this is someone I know that is very bright. Like he has a very bright future. And I can remember once he told me once that being an only child, that he used to wish he had more siblings. And I don't know if that is one of the reasons why he's distant, but I have tried all I can. But it seems the more I want to get closer, the more he keeps distancing himself, and I really, really want to help him out. So I don't know what I can do to actually break that barrier and reach out to him.
Yes. So thank you very much for asking that question, and thank you for being interested in that teenager. Now, what I would say is that at this point, right, don't try to help him because that pattern has not worked. Trying to help him has not worked. Just be his friend, quote unquote. Just be there for him and say, well, I'm not trying to help you. I just want to, let's just be friends in that sense, right? Because sometimes when teenagers now see that you are genuinely interested in them, they will eventually open up. So there might be that resistance now because there's a red flag of, oh, she's trying to help me. She's trying to help me. But if, oh, I'm not worried, I'm not trying to, let's just be talking. One day it will open up and then you can now have access to really help them. Another thing is your approach might also have been the issue. Oh, you have been trying to advise him. It's part of why you should attend this course, blessing, so that you move from advising to coaching. Understand the process of coaching and actually helping teenagers get the desired results that they need. Because approach might actually have been the issue here and how you are going about it. Yeah. And sometimes as well, it's also important to note that there's just so much you can do if you have not been contracted to be that teenager's coach. Even when you have been contracted to be the teenager's coach, there's so much you can do because there's also parental influence. That is why most times we like and try to involve parents in the team coaching game so that we can get holistic results. Hope that helps you. Bless.
Okay, so we're going to just take the last question and call it a day. So this is from Lillian. She said, how do you bring a teenager back who has gone astray, like a teenage girl who has been influenced by friends?
Yes, the same thing I've said applies to you. She has gone astray. Don't become an emergency motivational speaker. Don't start telling her all the, how astray she has gone, how far away she's gone, and all of that. She knows that already, I'm sure. So you want to, because a lot of these teenagers, the reason why they even go astray is because there is a lack of unconditional love in their life. Yes. Very few teenagers and children have received unconditional love in their life. Mark my words. Even many of us here, there are very few of us who have received unconditional love. A love that is not based on what you have done, but just based on who you are. Because how do we train teenagers and even children here? When you pass exams, I will buy you a bicycle. If you fail it, I will punish you. So teenagers and children grow up to have that notion that I can only receive love if I live up to a standard. And sometimes they cannot live up to that standard. So they become what we call discouraged perfectionists. So that is why you want to start by showing her unconditional love, and then she will start most likely opening up to you, and you can start influencing her. That's what I would say for now.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this session. Unfortunately, this is the most we can take for tonight. If you have more questions, reach out to us, send us messages. The Institute's Instagram is IFED Academy. Our YouTube channel, for those of you that missed the stream, is IFED Academy. Reach out to me. For those of you that are still uncertain, oh, this is a lot of money, I'm going to part with. You can also ask me questions. I mean, I'm going to be neutral. I didn't start the institute. So reach out to me, Joy Deborah SCN. If you want to reach out to our coach on Instagram, he is Coach Miracle Ioma on Instagram. You can also reach out to him on Instagram. All right. So, but be careful. I saw some people sharing numbers. Don't be scammed by anybody. we are very credible in what we do. So thank you all. I wish you a lovely week ahead, and I'm hoping to see you in class come